Hello friends, let's discuss the remaining part of the staffing. See, start with the HRD. HRD stands for the Human Resource Development. So what do you mean by the name itself? How it is? See, HRD is Human Resource Development. So name it is indicating it is Human Resource Development. So we have to develop the human resource. What is human resource? Means the staff, right? The employee, the worker you are having, the managers you are having, that all we have to develop. That means we have to do the HRD, right? Very simple. Now see, the HRD aims to improve the efficiency of individual, groups and organization through the strategic training and the career initiative. So what that HRD include? Basically provide the training to the staffs, right, through which we can improve the efficiency. Next, HRD facilitates the essential skill acquisition for the employees. It encompasses the post-hire training, skill enhancement, the resource allocation and overall employee growth activity. So obviously, see, name itself indicating we have to develop the humans. We have to develop the humans, or we can say the workers, the employees. So how? After hiring, after selection, we can provide them training, skill enhancement, then resource allocation, right, on the overall employee growth activity. So these are the part of human resource development. Now, what are the benefit of HRD? Very simple. See, it enhances the profitability, productivity, and the workplace relation. Equips the workforce with the necessary skill and the knowledge, promoting an organizational capability. HRD foster a culture of a trust and respect, acceptance of the change. Engagement level among the employee increases. The employee enhance their problem solving ability due to the HRD. Overall employee progress, better teamwork. HRD helps the cultivate an efficiency culture, optimizing the resource use and achieving the objective. Increased employee participation is encouraged through the HRD activities. So these are numerous benefits we are having for of the HRD. Okay. Now see, HRD is a very interesting concept. We have to develop the skill, capacity, capability, and the problem solving capacity of the employees. That is all part of the HRD. Now we are having types of the HRD. So basically it is like a on-job training, then work shadowing, classroom instruction, online education, professional development opportunity, and the compliance training. So these are the different part of training we are getting as a employee, right? So these are the, we can say these are the types of the HRD. So what is on-job training? Simply it involves learning the job task while performing them. Means what? When you will join the company, you will join the bank, and that while learning, while doing your job, you are learning too. These are on-job training. Very simple. Now work shadowing means what? An employee observes the colleague to learn the job skill. See, name is indicating. Work shadowing means what? You are observing like a shadow. You are working like a shadow means what? See, in when you join as a new clerk or cashier, you sit along with another cashier, so you just observe what he is doing, right? That means what? Simply the shadowing. Work shadowing means the employee only observe the colleague to learn the job skill. The intellectual or the professional growth, it includes the certification program and job specific training to enhance the effectiveness. That is simply what is the intellectual or the professional growth. The certification program or job specific training will be there for the enhancing the effectiveness. Then in person versus the virtual training. Despite of the rise of the virtual option like e-learning, traditional in person training and the seminar will be always prevalent. Okay, so these are the you can say the types of the HRD. Now see, managing the different generations. So what are the different generations we are having? See, the boomers generation, Gen X, then millennials, and then Gen Z and the alpha generation. So these are the generations, right? Very interesting. So how, see, misunderstanding among different age group can lead to the significant issue and including the turnover. This turnover means leaving the organization turnover. So what best practices should be followed for managing the different generation? So obviously do not make any assumption. So avoid assumption about the generational traits as they may not accurately reflect the individual capability. not all millennials are tech savvy. So you cannot make the general statement. For example, it is very much common in banks. So what generally the bankers say, the senior people say, at our time we were doing lot of work, there were no computer, there were only the ledger, that type of work we are doing, right? And you new people are joining, you don't know the responsibility like that. So we can say they are directly attempting targeting the new generation Gen Z, right? So what we can say, we do not have to make any assumption about the generation. Next, do not make any assumption about the generational traits, as they may not accurately reflect the individual capability, right? So means for example, again I repeat, it is like a see, not all millennials are tech savvy, right? Generally the millennials are tech savvy, but it is not necessary, right? Then avoid using the labels. So when we are discussing the generational differences, to prevent alienation, means that obviously we should not use the labels. For example, if there's a team and there's one very young person is there, right? So we cannot say you are very young, you don't know, you should avoid that. So we should avoid the labeling to prevent the to prevent the alienation, means what, feeling of having some different. Then ensuring a regular review of own biases, means what here, see, regularly review of a personal biases to minimize the unconscious judgment and foster open, means what, see sometimes what happen, unknowingly we say you are not from, you are very new, how we can, you know this, you don't have that much experience, right? That means we have to ensure ourselves that we are not biased with somebody, right? That then focus on people around you rather than the trends. So obviously prioritize the direct interaction with the team member or relying on the general trends or the stereotypes. Okay, so you can have direct connection. You can ask, for example, if you think that the Gen Zs are not working properly, so you don't worry. If there is Gen Z member in your team, you directly go and ask something. Okay, then acknowledge and celebrate the difference that exists throughout each generation, means what, acknowledge and celebrate the unique differences present with within each generation. See, obviously senior people like boomers, they have the experience, millennials are tech savvy, you can say Gen Z's are very much fast forward and they are in the iPhone generation, you can say. So Gen Z's are very latest generation. Okay, so these are the different generations we are having. So we have to manage the different generation across the workplace. Okay, how can manage? We should not make any assumption, we should not we should avoid using the labels in the to the generation. Then ensuring regular review of own biases, focusing on the people around you rather than the trends of the generation, acknowledging and celebrating the differences which are existing throughout each generation. So these are the way to deal with the different generation. Now see the managing diversity. How do we manage diversity? See, the workforce is becoming increasing diversely, especially in terms of the generational representation. So it is ranging from baby boomers to the generation Z, Gen Z, right? That means senior to young generation. So in bank also we can see the staff is who is on the verge of retirement, as a new joining clerk or officer. So there is a lot of age gap. So the employee should recognize the distinct mannerism, requirement, objectives, and the threat of each generation. So what are the advantages of a generational diversity rule? Problem solving. First is the problem solving. See, the different approaches to problem solving can lead to innovative solutions. So obviously, say there is some problem, right? So for example, if nowadays if the CTS machine is not working, so what is CTS means? A check truncation, check scanning machine. So what generally the senior people, they will directly ask for technical support, right? They will call to the technical support people. But what the Gen Z millennial they will do, they will try to themselves, they will try to restart the machine, they will try to restart the PC. That means what, the problem solving will lead the innovative solutions. Next, understanding the diverse audience. So obviously a multi-generational workforce enhances the ability to relate to the various demographic groups. Next, opportunities for the educational growth. So obviously the employee can exchange the new perspective and efficient business methods. Then the mentorship, So fostering mentorship relationship is facilitated by the diverse workforce, encouraging knowledge transfer among the employee. See, you are having a variety of the generation in your organization. So boomers means senior people. They will definitely guide to the new generations. So these all are the what are the advantages of having diversity at a workplace. Okay. Next, the healthy industrial relation. So what do you mean by the industrial relation? So in simple way, we can define the industrial relation as interaction taking between the labor and the management. Okay. So in simple ways, I can say the union and the management. If the relation between the union and the management is called the industrial relation, very simple. So the industrial relation can also be defined as the relationship of the labor and the management. That is what the union and the employers, right? So it is essential. For example, the relationship between the United Forum of Bank Union and the IBA, right? So it is essential to have the good relation between the employee and the employer, that is the laborers, workers and the management. So what is the concept of the industrial relation? See, the term industrial relation combined from the industry and the relations. Okay. So industry here referred as the productive activity individuals are engaged in, where means simply where we are working, simply like a banking industry. And relation means simply the employer and the employee relationship. So the industrial relation encompasses the dynamic between the employee, management, government and the institution that facilitates these interactions. So for example, for a banking industry, how we can say the industrial relation? For banking industry, the United Forum of Bank Union, it is the umbrella union of the workforce among the industry. Then we are having the third party as Indian Banks Association. It is what it is, which facilitates the interaction. It is called as the IBA, right? And the management, different management from different banks. Okay. So these are way in which we can say we maintain the industrial relation. Now see, the healthy industrial relation depend on the essential characteristics. For example, the mutual respect, understanding, goodwill and the recognition of the dignity. Okay. So this is what the industrial relation. So what are the key area of industrial relation? Obviously the employee supervisor relationship among the employees, then the union and management relation involving collective agreement between the labor union and the management, collective relation among the employers association, labor union and the government. So there may be the collective relation. For example, say our bipartite settlement. What is it? It is collective settlement between the unions, management and the government, right? So it is a tripartite agreement, you can say like that. Okay. So government is giving just approval. So bipartite means between the union and the management, they decide the salary by the way of bipartite talk. So this is what simply the best example for the industry relation. Now next is the management of the change. So what does mean by management of change? See, anything if we have to change, how we can manage. For example, now here 100 workers are working in the factory to make the clothes. They are using the handlooms. Okay. Now new machineries are coming and now instead of 100 we need only 70 workers and they will run the machinery to get more product. Okay. So we are changing by the using new technology, right? So how to implement that change is called as the management of a change. So the change management involve managing interaction between the people who are leading the change effort. Means what? Change leaders, those who are expected to implement. Who will implement? The implementers and the new strategy. So what is the change management? It is simply the interaction between the leaders who are implementing the change and the implementers, leaders who are making the strategy and the implementers who are implementing the change. It is also involves managing the organizational context in which change takes place and managing the emotional bond that are essential for any transaction. Okay. So we have to manage. See, if there is some change in the organization, there are the emotion. For example, say the Allahabad Bank has been merged with the Indian Bank. So the emotions of the Allahabad Bank employees, right? How to deal with that? So it is called as the emotional bond of the employee. So this is very much important to implement while implementing the change. So the theories model in the change management draw from the psychology, behavioral science engineering and the system thinking. So it is not important. Obviously change is part of the psychology, right? Notable model includes the Levin's change management model. What is it? It is simply unfreeze, change, refreeze. It is very important. For exam point of view also, Levin's change management model uses the concept of unfreeze, change, refreeze. Okay, and the Cotter's 8-step change model, which provide the comprehensive framework for the navigation change. Okay, so it is very important. Levin's change model. What is that? Unfreeze, change, and then refreeze. Okay, so this is all about the change management. Now see how to implement the better change management. What are the strategy for it? See, first is what? Gaining an understanding of the change process. Means what? Successful change management involve a clear starting point A and the destination point B. Means we should be clear what change we have to implement from start to end, right? So the change process is divided into the three main stages. First stage is preparation, second is execution, and third is subsequent action we have to take. Okay, these are the three important stages. Now first is see preparation. So by getting the organization and the workers ready for the transition, by explaining them, explaining to the staff members, explaining to them the long-term goal that must be accomplished and the strategy used to get there. First we have to tell them why we are implementing them, what are our goal and how we can finish it. So the change managers play a crucial role in preparation by preparing the organization and the employee for the transition. We have to prepare organization and the employee for the transition. Transition is change, right? So the communicating the long-term goal and the strategy to achieve them, and also we have to communicate the strategy how we can achieve the change. Next is the implementation. So to ensure that the changes are carried out in line with the organization long-term goals. So what is implementation? It is simply to ensure that change is carried out in line with the organization. So obviously why we are changing? We are changing because our organization's goal is to what is the goal of organization that we are implementing indirectly, right? For example, our motto is what? Our motto is to be the number one producer in cotton. So what we do as a company, we will implement the new changes. So what? Like a new machinery we will implement, automation we will do, right? So this is what? This is the change management. This is what? Implementation. So we have to ensure that the changes are carried out that should be in line with the organization's long-term goals. Now next is the follow through. Means what? To make certain that the change is sustainable and that is incorporated into the culture and the practices of the organization. That is called simply the follow through. Okay, so these are the stages. Follow through means what? The subsequent action we are taking here. Next is what? The acquiring and awareness of the drivers of the change. Means what? The manager must recognize the drivers of a change which may arise from internal factors like a new leadership or external factors, for example say the technological advancement or the new companies, new competitors. Okay, so why we are implementing that change? Because either the competition has been increased into the market, or new technology is there, or new leadership is there, like that. Based on the, see, generally new leadership means what? See, if the MD of the bank changes, he will implement the new things into the bank, right? External factors means what? It is the demand. If there is a lot of competition in the market, we need to change. And the technological advancements or the new competitors, if the more competition, we need to change, right? So these are the different reason for acquiring awareness of the driver of change. Why we need to change? We should communicate to the staff. Then formulating a strategy should be formulated after understanding the reason for a change, right? If we know why we are changing, then we will formulate a strategy. The strategy should have an overview of a change, project scope, stakeholder identification, team organization, and the detailed roadmap for completing the project. Next is the clarity of a communication. So the clear communication is essential for guiding the company, right? So employees through the significant changes, employee must understand the reason for the change and how their role will be impacted, the requiring attentive listening to their concern. So obviously, so the management must communicate with the worker about the change process. right? So be ready to overcome the obstacle. So we should overcome the obstacle. How we can overcome the obstacle? Simply, we have to be prepared to face the obstacles, recognizing that the plans may not always be intended. Plan will not go as intended, right? So there may be obstacles, there may be the hurdles, there may be the resistance from the union for the change. So that for that we have to be ready. Okay, so these are the 5 strategies. Now see, formulating the career strategy. So the constructive career strategy, it has a 7 steps. Okay, first is CDP. A career development plan is a list of a long-term and the short-term goal that the employees set themselves in either their current role or for their future role. For example, how I can see myself after 5 years in the bank, I can be the senior management, or I can remain as an officer. Okay, so an in-depth analysis of the value, strength, motivators, and creating a plan for one's professional life is similar to erecting a structure. Simply, everybody is have their own career development plan. Very simple. Clerical can choose to remain as a clerk, or officers can take a promotion, can go beyond. Okay, so these are what? These are the different career CDB, career development plan. Second step is what? Be aware of a personal strength and the so you should aware what are your personal strength. For example, if you are the scale officer, you have to work in the credit department, so you should know you have passed this different credit certification examination, you have strong hold that, so you should aware your personal strength. Then third step is on focuses on the researching available opportunity and maximizing them. So you if you are very much good in the, for example, say the loan department advances, so we should search the opportunity available in the organization and outside the organization, so that you can reach your career development plan, right? Fourth step is the process is developing expertise. So fourth step is what? You have to be expert in at least one thing, right? For example, if you're good in the advances, be specific. For example, you are good in the SME loans, you are good in the, say, the corporate loans, you are good in, so for example, the agriculture loan. Like that means you should be expert in at least one, right? The fifth step is developing the network. Fifth means what? You should have strong network. If you are expert, you are having lot of knowledge, if you don't have the network, then how can you reach the people, right? So network should be there, so that you will get the other development activity also, or simply you can say you will get other opportunity to do the work. Next, sixth step entitles considering and evaluating the alternatives. So obviously, if you have to be ready for the alternatives, and the seventh step is you have to take the action. Okay, so these are the 7 step career strategy. Now, stress management. So it is very, very important nowadays in bank also, right? So how to manage the stress, right? See, stress can manifested through the mental and the physical symptom. So which may vary by the individual and the context, including deteriorating the physical health and the depressions. These are the part of stress, physical health, deterioration, depression, right? So the effective stress management is crucial for achieving the happiness and the success in the modern life, with various techniques available to manage the anxiety and to maintain the well-being. So stress level can be measured using the physiological test, akin to those used in the polygraph examination, countering the notion that stress is solely a personal experience. Okay, so what? See, stress is solely a personal experience, it is not that much up to, right? Stress is what very much common nowadays, right? So stress management is also important, right? How you can manage the stress, it is your own choice, but some people do yoga, some do the meditation, right? Some do the pranayam. Okay, so these are the part through which you can manage your stress. So friends, here we will stop. You can subscribe us on the Banker Zone, you can join our Telegram channel, you can download the application from the Play Store. Thank you friends.